Hello, everyone, and you're welcome to a new episode with Progress Over Perfection from the study of Age Radio Australia here in Perth. As you know, in this podcast, we talk about relationship. Relationship is not only about a romantic relationship, but sometimes it's about relationship with us and relationship with our friends and with relationship with our co-worker. So this is why I invited today James Bryden.
Yes.
James Bryden is a productivity coach. So first, you're welcome, James.
Thank you.
How are
Good to
you?
be here. Very well, thank you.
What is a productivity coach?
Well, it's a name I don't particularly like, to be honest. I've had it for
Okay.
about 12 years, but going through the process of changing it is a bit problematic, and I just prefer to stay the way I am with that. But fundamentally, I would call myself more a mentor than a coach.
Okay. So a productivity coach is someone to help business
Yes.
people to be more productive.
Yes, that's the end result.
Okay.
At the end of the day, it's about relationships. It really is. I predominantly work with teams that are dysfunctional. So, in any team, I've been involved in sporting teams for many years.
Yeah.
And there's always some people who like to dominate, other people like to bitch and moan and complain, and there's backbiting and there's jealousy and all those sorts of things come into play. So my aim is to help not only the team work better together, but also to help the managers who manage their teams to communicate better and so that we get everyone on the same page.
So you actually help teams in company to be more productive, to be happy together, to work together, to understand each other. That's correct?
Yeah. Well, people who enjoy their work tend to do better.
Yeah, this is why I find affinity with what you do, with what I do. So at the end of the day, a big team in a corporate work together towards some goals is like a family. Correct? So you have the father and the mother, the two managers or the bosses of the house, and then you have all the rest of the family that can work together and co-work together. That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is why I want to James here today. And I think the experience of James' experience, I think, can be very helpful for everybody out there. Even to me, it's been very good since I met you. The things that you suggest, you help me to understand is very important to me. So I hope everything you have to say can reach their heart.
Thank you, and I find the same with you actually. This is why we get on so well together. Is that I from what you've told me, I understand what you're doing and what is difference you make in the world, particularly in personal relationships. So.
Thanks. So today we keep going like this. We fell in love today. Now, what I want to talk about today, because Sir James, because he is a Sir from England, you wrote part of a book, correct? Would you like to show the book? And
it's called the Power of Connection. Okay, and it's an anthology.
It's an anthology.
I think there's about 20 of us wrote a chapter each in the book. Outlining our journey through life and business and what we did to overcome the obstacles that got in our way.
Okay. And what I liked about your anthology is about your story. Is your story. And as a counselor, when I read the story, I found things. I say, we need to talk about this, James. But especially the last bit, when you talk about vulnerability, I really think is a very fascinating thing to talk about, especially if come from men.
Yes.
Okay. So let's start from the beginning. You come from Coventry, UK, Coventry. So tell us, what is Coventry? Where is Coventry? And
look at a map of England, and you look for a place in England that's as far away from the sea as possible. That's Coventry. It's right in the middle, just to the. If you look on the map, it's just to the right of Birmingham.
Okay.
It was back when I was growing up. It was very much an industrial town. they produced a lot of cars, a lot of machinery, a lot of stuff for the military and so forth. So it was full of factories.
Okay.
And of course, most people, when they left school, tended to go into factory life, and the thought of doing that did not appeal to me.
They appeal to you. And how was for you grow up in this kind of environment?
Okay, well, growing up there, it became very clear to me very early on when I was at school that there was something wrong with the education system.
Okay.
Okay, there was very much a class system there. You know, the people who had the money and had the wherewithal and had the connections, they all went to the posh schools.
Okay.
And I went to the ordinary one, comprehensive school as it was then. And I've always had the feeling there that they were just educating us to go into factories. There was no sort of way out effectively for people like me.
Okay.
And of course the other people that were in the school. So I just didn't like the place, and I just wanted to get away.
So this why, say, I sign here that in one point you wrote, to seek validation, I adopted the role of a helper.
Yes.
This was something that came out because...
Well, my father got involved in an accident. He worked in the pits, in mines, and when I was about 5, there was a cave in it, and he broke his back, got badly injured.
Okay.
Got a long time to recover, and was effectively, semi-invalided for the rest of his working career. As a result, finding work was very difficult, and life was very difficult for us as a family. And we were always poor. And that sense of lack, that sense of being in that situation had a big effect on me. That's one of the things that's carried me, that went with me through most of my adult life as well. And it's not easy to overcome.
No.
In order to get validation, the best way for me to do that was I couldn't give it to myself because I didn't feel worthy. Where's the best place to get it? From other people.
Yeah.
And how is the best way to do that? Is to
pleasing people.
Please people.
So you say, in fact, that staying under the radar became a default setting for you.
Yes.
As a shield. Do you think this went along for a long time in your life?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I wanted to get away.
Okay.
I want to get out of that environment. First, I went off and I worked for a very short time in the factory. I couldn't handle that, so I went and joined the forces.
Yeah.
Realised that was just another aspect of the class system I talked about, officers and enlisted men. And then I decided, no, I was young enough at the time to be able to get out, so I left that. I didn't want to be a pawn in somebody else's game. Some people will recognise that. I would have been sent to Northern Ireland because the troubles were on at the time. Sorry, I'm not doing it.
Northern Ireland to do what?
Well, because the IRA were big at that time.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of bombings, a lot of shootings, a lot of killings in Northern Ireland. And it was a fight that really I didn't feel...
You didn't want to...
feel that it was something I should be involved in. As it happened, I married an Irish girl.
Yeah. You married an Irish girl.
Yeah.
This is another interesting topic. Maybe one day we can talk about the Irish problem at the time. But what you've done to get out from this? So you said that you went to the Royal Marines, correct? How was the timing there?
I don't regret doing it. I mean, I was fit as I've ever been in my life, and it was great in the sense that they taught me how to wash myself, how to iron clothes, wash and iron my gear, how to be independent.
Yeah.
And all the ironing, all of that sort of stuff was great. And how to hold myself up properly, how to shoot people, how to fire a gun, how to do all of those sorts of things, how to kill people.
How to kill people.
It's not that it's not something, of course, I need to put into practice, not what I want to. But from the practical perspective, and also, as I said, I became very, very fit.
It's true that, many times the army become as well your family.
This was actually the Marines, the Navy. It's the army of the Navy, if you like.
The Navy, yes. Yeah. So sorry for my confusion. In fact, you said at one point you moved to Australia, and then you wrote this, I think was very funny. As surprising, jobs require those specific skills, so killing people or or football skill, you couldn't find many jobs down here, correct?
No, I was looking for one, of course.
At one point, you talk about setting a realistic expectation.
Yes.
Okay. How scared you were to setting this expectation with the fear of failure?
Yeah. Look, looking back, I mean, I left to join the Royal Marines as soon as I got out.
Yeah.
Right. How else can I escape Australia?
Mm.
So effectively, I was running away,
Mm.
from home, from this
Stay under the radar.
staying under the radar,
Yeah.
but just trying to get away from it. But that didn't cure the issue.
Mm.
So one thing I realized later, wherever I went, there I was.
The fear of failure was there.
Still there, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And at one point, this fear of failure actually became a reality.
Oh yeah, quite absolutely. It was quite some time. I mean, I was two aspects to it. One, I play football, and I was pretty good at it. And the other side was I went and learned how to do electronics. So I ended up working back then. Color TV came out around 1975, and I learned how to fix them. And so I got involved with that for many years.
Would you talk about the bankruptcy that you went through?
Yeah. Difficult time. I worked for a company fixing TVs. Then I had my own business.
Yeah.
And then moved to Western Australia to here. And I made a big mistake and bought another company that I should never have gone anywhere near. My gut was telling me, don't do it, but I did it anyway. And then,
You say that you did it without consulting Mary.
that's right. Yeah. It's one of the worst things I've done. I regret to this day. I put her through hell. In fact, I think I might mention it in the book there that I wouldn't have blamed her if she left. In fact, I'm surprised she didn't, because it was all my own doing. Yeah. Of course, I beat myself up for that.
What did you learn from that? First, what happened in that period? What was the wrong mistake, the wrong choice, and what happened in these choices?
You mean in buying this new business?
Yes. What happened there? Because you explain here.
Yeah. Well, I had 10 employees.
Yeah.
Okay, and I didn't know how to, couldn't manage them properly. I had no real business experience of running a team like that.
Yeah.
At least in in business context. I've done it many times with sporting teams, but not in a business context. So I was very naive and didn't pay attention to the numbers. Didn't know how to market myself properly. Still don't, by the way.
It's a learning curve. Everybody have this problem.
Yeah, well, I solved that another way. But, it came to bite me on the backside. And the thing about going bust is it doesn't just suddenly happen. It happens slowly over time, so imperceptibly slowly. Then one day you wake up and it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
And that was very difficult. Devastating, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The things I want to point out in your script, I think is very interesting script. I think is one of the stories that you read it and make you understand what's going on and the timing and the things. But what I want to point out here, because you say that you at one point you sold this electronic business, okay, and you say that you at one point, aside from electronics and zero skill or qualification and no plan, you went to buy another electronic business. Now, I want to point out this. This is where I find some discrepancy here.
Yeah.
So you say that you didn't have any skill. When we talk, what do you think is what you become? No?
Can I just explain? I had skills in doing the job, doing the work. I didn't have the skills in running a business with lots of employees.
Yes, but for me, I'm a reader. I read this, okay? You say that you don't have any skills, okay? Have a vague idea about working with people, aside from electronics. You have skills.
Yes.
Okay? You have skills because you have the skills in military. You learn some skills that is taking care of yourself, be present, be a good worker, be ambitious, correct? A football. That then became something very important for you later on.
Yes.
Because I really believe everything happened for a reason, okay? And we see what is the reason about that. And you actually work in electronics, no? So you had the skills to do the job.
To do the job, yeah.
To do the job.
Yeah, to do the work of the business. Yeah.
Yes, to work with the business.
Yes.
So this is why when I read this, from my point, okay, I'm a critic and say, okay, there's ambiguity here, okay. No, you have the skills, okay.
Yeah.
But the point is, at one point, the China manufacturing come along and kick you out from business. You weren't the only one that lost business, probably, correct?
Yes, I was. That particular business, yes.
You were the only one
Yes.
lose the business.
Yes. Yeah, okay. It was my business.
Okay. And what are the mistakes that you made in that period?
No, I think the biggest one was no plan.
No plan.
No plan.
No
I
plan.
didn't pay attention to the numbers.
Yeah.
You know, I just sort of went with the flow and thought everything would magically happen. Of course,
Yeah.
Of course it didn't.
Didn't.
It does. So that was it.
And you say here managing people.
Yeah.
What do you do now? Work?
I teach what I had to learn. Yeah.
Everything up for a reason.
Of course. Of course.
This is why for me is so inspiring, this short story. Now, because then you went in Indonesia just after that, correct? You went in Indonesia, and in Indonesia you became a celebrity.
I wouldn't say celebrity, but certainly I became very well known.
Yeah.
You know, I was in all the national newspapers. I was interviewed numerous times on TV.
Yeah.
People asking for my autograph from the street. My team, I had the national youth team.
Yeah.
These were under 16, under 17.
How many people you were managing?
I had team 5 and of course all of the 30 players.
So you were able to manage.
Yeah, I did quite a good job, yeah.
So this is why reading this to say, yeah, okay, but yeah, it's a failure.
Very stressful.
Well, I understand that. I understand the point of view, no?
Yeah.
I understand the point of view, and is a thing that we need to think about, no? When I was reading, I thought, because you said here that you were very scared of failure.
Yep.
And for what I learned, more you think about something, more the things happen.
I know that now.
Yeah, you know that.
I know that now, yeah.
Tell me more about Indonesia.
Yeah.
What happened? Because being famous in Australia for his school, yeah?
Yes.
You were saying, but in Indonesia, come on, it's very exotic.
Yeah, look, it fantastic experience, but it's an interesting story about how I actually got the job.
Yeah, how did you get the job?
We met, I was actually, because I'd gone bankrupt and I was just going into a job, I was selling pest control at the time.
Okay.
And we went into this Indonesian fella's house and we were talking about that. He loves his football and we were talking about it. And he said, well, so I've got a game this weekend. Why don't you come down and watch? So, and I was in my sort of 40. I was 40 at the time.
You were a trainer, correct? You were a coach.
I was coach, but I was also still playing.
You were playing. Okay.
So anyway, with the first team, I came on a substitute and scored probably the best goal I've ever scored in my life in that game.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, it was just amazing. You know, the opposition team just sort of clapped.
Yeah.
But that was, he called me after that.
Yeah.
He said, can you come and see me? And he offered me the job of, I didn't realize it at the time, but he was actually putting together he was bankrolling the youth team of Indonesia. He's doing there. He's, you know.
Okay.
You know, the guy's got multiple hotels and palm oil plantations and what have you. So it's just a stroke of good luck, good fortune, that I was in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. And, you know, it's just serendipity, call it what you want, but it was really fortuitous. So it took me about 3 nanoseconds to say yes.
3
Yeah. And so yeah, then it was prep for a couple of months. And then it was off April 2001. I turned up there. Then I had to go around the country selecting players for the squad.
Okay. So you became so good in your job that actually many of your player made it in a youth selection, correct?
Yeah, I still get messages from them on Facebook now. This is 20 odd years later.
I think this is pretty cool. Huh?
Yeah.
Sorry, we have a message from Goddess. They say always listen to have. Hang on a second.
I've learned that one now. Thank you for that comment. It was a painful lesson to learn, but certainly intuition is very important to me now.
Yeah.
And going with that gut feel. I always check in just to check on whether it's analytically the right thing to do as well. But if those two align, then yes, I'll go with it. Sure.
Yeah, so at one point you became this celebrity in Indonesia. Everybody were looking at you. Everybody were James, correct?
I wouldn't say celebrity, but certainly well known. Yeah.
Well,
well, I'm on the back page of the national newspaper. Liverpool had just won some European Cup of some sort, and they're on there, and my picture's underneath them with an article, and I'm sitting there. One game that we played in, that's just bizarre. One game that we played, we had 15,000 people to watch these kids playing in the Southeast Asian Championships, and we played Thailand, and we beat them 1-0. Apparently, we were the first Indonesian team to beat any Thai team in 10 years.
I think you became a celebrity over there.
Well, now it's interesting because after the game, one of my assistants came up. They used to call me Mr. Jim, short for James. Mr. Jim, come here. Okay, followed him under the grandstand into a little room, walked in there, and it's full of cameras and journalists, and it's packed. And I'm sitting down, put my Nike cap on because they were sponsoring us. I'm sitting there pinching myself. This is real, It's just so alien to be put into that, from training twice a week and playing on a Sunday or Saturday afternoon to training twice a day and being involved all week, every day. It's a whole different game.
Yeah.
And I had to get used to it quickly.
This popularity, because you say that you were a celebrity. Okay, there is celebrity as Brad Pitt celebrity. Okay, all the world knows. And there is a celebrity, if you go into it, there is Vasco Rossi. Vasco Rossi is the biggest Italian rock singer. Okay, nobody knows him outside Italy, but he does 4 shows in a row with 80,000 people in Milan. Yeah. So I think that means be a celebrity of the country. Now, you were a celebrity of your country.
Look, in Indonesia sort of realm, yes. Yeah. I mean, I could probably say that more people in Indonesia knew me than there are people in Australia.
Yeah.
Because they've got a population of 200 million. But they've read it. Yeah.
This popularity had an effect on you, or what?
Yeah, raised expectations.
Yeah.
Because
what happened with the young boy that want to stay under the radar and be?
I found it difficult. That's why that was so stressful. That really got to me. And to be honest, I drank too much alcohol at the time as well. Just to numb myself a bit from it, because I really had trouble with it.
Do you think being that level of celebrity was a good thing for you, or that way?
Well, the thing is, I found that over time, it's really important is that challenges in life, if you want to grow, are necessary. Absolutely necessary. I mean, too many people just want to be comfortable all the time, and it's okay in its own right, but if you really want to grow as a person, you need to put yourself in situations where you're challenging yourself. And I did that inadvertently. I didn't do it deliberately. But all the bankruptcy and various other things that happened in my life have helped make me who I am today. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now if I hadn't gone through that experience.
Yeah, the ups and downs.
It's so important. And I don't think many people realize that. Because when you just want to stay comfortable all the time, you wrap yourself in a cocoon of safety.
Yeah.
And it does the exact opposite. It stops you.
Yeah.
It stunts you.
Yeah. There's no growth in a stable position.
Yeah.
In a comfortable position.
In my opinion.
Yeah. In fact, you say it here, there is a couple of points of it, like it was overcoming obstacles has instilled me a sense of accomplishment and self-confidence. I've learned to trust my instinct, take calculated risk, and embrace a new challenge with a newfound sense of empowerment.
Yes.
So actually, go through all this situation from your early childhood with a very tough environment, and then the Navy, and then come move here, 18 years old, alone, on your own, not knowing everything, no one, and then go through bankruptcy, and then become a celebrity in the country.
Bizarre, isn't it?
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
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 But this is what make me mad is you went, yeah, it make me think, wow, no, life is wonderful because
Yeah.
you went through bankruptcy. But actually, now you teach people do not go through bankruptcy and or don't get there.
Well,
And without that, probably you wouldn't able to.
you don't have to. You know, people have different challenges in their life. They've just got to choose which ones am I going to take on,
Yeah,
which is really important.
yeah, yeah. You wrote here, learning and growth are interviewed with challenges, like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
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 I think is a great way to describe personal development, and this is what happened in relationship as well. No, in relationship, without a challenge in relationship, you don't grow in relationships.
That's right.
This is why I want to you here, because people go through obstacles in their relationship. They go through moments that sometimes you want to just give up, say whatever, you know, and instead, if you hold on and you go through the challenge, maybe you can learn
Yes.
and thrive in your relationship.
Yes.
Or maybe you can learn, okay, this has to end, but you can learn and understand it yourself.
Adjust your behaviour, you know.
Yeah.
So after the bankruptcy, I made a promise to my wife. I would never ever make a decision, especially an important one, without asking her and getting her agreement.
Mm.
If she says no, then that's it. No, this is our decision, not mine. That's stood ever since then. And we have a much stronger relationship now than we've ever had.
Have before.
Yeah.
What is vulnerability for you?
Right. Some people, especially men, think that being vulnerable is, you know, crying in front of other people and being weak and whatever. But it's not. It's actually a great strength.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is just the ability or the willingness to be able to say, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I was wrong.
I don't know.
Can you help me? You know, to show your inherent human fallibility. I don't know anyone who's perfect. Never met one. But too many of us set standards for ourselves that we can't possibly meet. So being vulnerable is just that willingness to show, whether it's fallibility, your humanity, or whatever. See, the problem is we as, again, particularly as men, think that if we do that, we will get judged. People will judge us. Yeah, they do. They respect you.
Yeah.
They actually respect you.
That's true.
Because you're doing something that they probably have trouble doing themselves. So it's really, really important.
How much vulnerability you need to have a good relationship?
How long's a piece of string? I don't know. It's just situational for me. If I need to own up to something or say something or admit to something or whatever, then I used to find it really difficult to admit that I was wrong. Sorry, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I got it wrong. I'm sorry. That was really difficult.
Yeah.
I'm getting much better at it now.
You're still learning.
I never stop.
Yeah, of course.
Make no claims on it.
No.
But it is something that you know that I do consciously practice.
And what do you remember? If was a point with your partner that you touch the point to say, no, I need to change it. I need to more vulnerable, more open, more.
Yeah, it was after the bankruptcy.
You
know, and what I did struggle with it for a long time afterwards, but I knew that, and I just had to put my pride to one side, you know, and just own up to the fact that I'm less than what I thought I should be. And it's made a big difference. It really has.
And how did your relationship change with her?
Oh, we laugh every day.
Mm.
And I mean every day. You know, I'm getting older now, and my memory's not quite as good as it could be, and neither is hers. So we laugh about it. Oh, I forgot again.
With my underwear.
You know, we're just allowed to do that. We would occasionally have crosswords, but it wouldn't be any more than maximum once a year.
Yeah.
And even then, it's then back usually. You know, it's probably me that's been at fault there, and sorry, Dan, I didn't mean it, or whatever. And we make up, and it's done.
What you have 2 kids,
Yes.
correct? What do they think about your vulnerability, new vulnerability? What
Well, they've
is the teaching?
been living away from us for a long, long time. The eldest one's been living away from us for 15 years, whatever. First, he went off and had his own place in Perth here, and then he moved to Spain.
Yeah.
6, 7 years ago.
Mm.
So we only catch up occasionally.
Yeah.
Most recently, about a month ago.
Yeah.
And my other son, he's been in Melbourne for probably 10, 12 years. And we see him about once a year. So it doesn't really come up that much.
Okay.
But I probably spend more time listening. Yeah.
What if you could? I know that you don't like to give advice, and I want to call in a different way. What do you think if I come to you and ask you, James, what can I do to be more, to become more vulnerable, more open, to more emotional, more empath? You know, I meet a lot of men sadly that they looking to become more. Sadly, no, it's a good thing to become more empathic with their partners. What would you suggest to me?
Okay, well, most of my work is in the business context.
Yeah,
I don't do,
of course,
marriage sort of stuff.
of course.
I decided to stay away from that
Mhm.
aspect. But really, it's just I tell stories,
Would you like to tell us a story?
about me admitting. But I'll
Mm.
say, well, look, what some people have found, a lot of people have found, is that if they do this,
Mm.
then they'll actually get better results than by digging their heels in, putting the wall up. Because that's what happens is people put, especially in the corporate world, that people only let you see what they think you should see.
Yeah.
Okay, and people can pick it up.
Yeah.
Very easily. It's not hard.
They put on a mask.
It's a facade that we put up, and I'm not saying drop your facade completely, totally, because we're not going to reveal our deepest, darkest secrets to everybody. That's common sense. But certainly in areas where, especially in interpersonal relationships at work, it's to be able to say things like, rather than insisting that I know what we should do here, be curious. Ask somebody, I'm thinking of doing this. What do you reckon? What do you think? Do you think there's a better way of doing this? Ask them.
There is any exercise that would you suggest to someone that want to drop the mask?
I think it's a slow process. It's not something that you suddenly become great at. For me, it was a slow process, and I think that big starting point is learning to be more interested in the other person. And I want to, rather than me giving my point of view, is I want to know what I'm going to ask you a question. I want to really listen to you, and I want to understand you. I don't know what's made you you. I don't know where you're coming from.
Okay.
If I do that, then there's a point there where when somebody else starts to tell me their story, people do that with me too, as you are.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an invitation for them to do the same. I'm opening the door for that to happen.
But be curious. Be curious.
Yeah. And what comes with that? Okay, so I'm becoming very curious when I'm really listening and understanding where you're coming from. What happens there is that in that vulnerability and that curiosity, humility arises. You become more humble.
Yeah.
Because now I'm starting to realize that this whole world, a whole universe that I've got no idea about. I mean, I don't know your history, and the chances are you don't know your full history either. I certainly don't know mine at all.
Yeah.
Well, not at all, but you know, the stuff I've told you, all of the little stuff that's made me who I am, most of it I think is unconscious.
Well, we have a message from that's
Yes, it is.
with the majestic.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Is to ask for help, to admit you don't know, and so on. And you know, it's just saying I'm human, admitting I'm human.
Yeah.
Perfect.
No, I ask you these things because I know that you talk about business purposes, but because I really believe that between a relationship and a marriage and a business, physical business is just the name of the business, it's just the contract. But our family is a business at one point. And become a business, you run a business. You two in a family, you run a mini.
I wouldn't recommend that, by the way.
A mini business that you need to check the money, the finance. You need to check the family. So, and many times when we are in a relationship, because we don't want to upset other people, we put on the mask. And putting on the mask, we stop listening to the other person what they're saying, and we want to come across, point out that we are right all the time, even when we are not. This is why I want to dig on this thing about vulnerability and what do you do?
Well, there's another aspect to it. There's another aspect to it as well, and that is being willing to face uncertainty.
Yeah.
Being willing to be open to finding out what works and what doesn't, to try things, to give it a go. And you know, when you do that, and if you're also curious and vulnerable, and you're willing to the uncertainty of life, it just opens doors. Because okay, am I willing to try this? I don't know what the outcome's going to be here. I might say something. I wonder if I should ask this question. I don't know what the answer will be unless I ask it.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I willing to find out? Two things will happen. Two things can happen. One is a good outcome, in which case you can pat yourself on the back, say, yeah, great. What's the other thing that can happen?
Probably nothing.
You learn. Two outcomes. Simple as that. I'm not talking about taking life-threatening and certain situations.
No, absolutely.
I'm talking about normal life and normal interactions with other people, and maybe even business risks. Like when I came to Australia, when I went and joined the Marines, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't realise at the time, but I've been extremely willing to do that. Go to Indonesia without knowing the language, you know, and so forth.
I absolutely agree with you. Look, the other day I was talking with a young fella, and he's not a client, he's just a friend. And he has a problem that he is in love with this girl, okay? And he didn't know what to do because very young, you know, man, I don't know if maybe she can reject me. And we have a long conversation about what could happen, And as you say, I ask him, what could happen? If you keep going like this, you're going to let her decide for you. Because she's going to decide if she wants you or maybe she look for something. Take the risk. Take the risk. Take the bull from the horn, no? And take the risk. Find out.
Yeah.
If it's good, it's good. If it's not good, it's not good. Find someone else.
And you know what?
You cry a little bit for the next 20 minutes and then find someone else.
Yeah.
You're young. So.
You can actually die of embarrassment.
Yes.
You can't.
You can die of
personal experience. I had trouble with girls in my early. I was so embarrassed, even meeting my wife. You know, so that was tough.
Yeah. No.
And you know, I'm really glad. You know, she persevered, and it was great. But there's no way I'd go and ask a girl out. I was too embarrassed.
That's true. That's true. And look, I like the way that you started your conclusion in this story. You wrote, embracing vulnerability, humility, and uncertainty is not about surrendering to unknown. It's about empowering ourselves to navigate the unpredictable nature of life with resilience.
Yes.
Can you please, I would like that you share the books as well again. Yes, the book, what is the title of the book?
Power of Connection.
The Power of Connection.
Hopefully, I've got a link to the Amazon, so you can download the Kindle version of it.
Okay.
Mine is just one of the stories in there.
Okay.
And $7.99 on Kindle.
Good. Well, thank you, James, for this beautiful. Would you like to give us the last insight for the people?
Just to say that you mentioned the vulnerability, the uncertainty, and the curiosity. One of the things that comes out of this is acceptance. Self-acceptance, particularly, because I'm no longer embarrassed. I can take on new things and not worry about them because there's only two outcomes, and I get to learn a lot about myself and about other people. And that really boils down to being more authentic.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, James. So this is the end of this podcast. Next week, we're going to talk about law with a lawyer, family law, what involves the law in Australia about marriage, relationship, what is the difference between a relationship, a long-term relationship, and a marriage. And all of you, if you want to talk with someone because maybe you go through a complex time, reach out to maurodavidio.com. I'll be very happy to help you out. Otherwise, let's catch up next week on Age Radio Australia. Thank you, Age Radio Australia, to hold this podcast, and see you next time. Ciao. Bye.